What the fuck is a reboot?
A reboot, boys, is when Hollywood wants to make a lot of money without the hassle of creating a new movie. So they take an old movie and change just enough to make you pay for the same shit all over again.
We are back for a new episode of Frame to Frame. I'm one of your co-hosts, Tom Garcia, aka Yumper, and I'm with my other co-host, Michael Cotton, aka the Cubes fan. How you doing, my man?
Hey, doing good. Happy New Year.
Yes,
I know it feels a little late to hear that now, but we haven't been able to do one of these for a little bit.
That is true, but everything about this year has not been happy.
No. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's the wrong, probably the wrong term to use. I totally agree. It's been a bit of a shit show.
But hey, man, we're here to talk some movies, take your mind off some things that are going on. Even though I think it's hilarious that we did The Thing on the At the Show podcast during a snowstorm, the ice storm that came through, which was totally fitting. And we're doing RoboCop, which is basically about a government corrupting, taking over a city. Which is kind of going on today.
Yeah, exactly. It's art imitates life, or life imitates art. It kind of goes back and forth. And unfortunately, the art that life is imitating right now is not the funny rom-com type.
Oh yeah, very unfortunate. But we're gonna be getting into the 1987 RoboCop versus the 2014 remake. Now, Cotton, like we always do, we never really speak on what our thoughts are on the movies that we watched. We always go in completely blind. We don't write any notes that we share with each other for this show. So I'm very excited to see what you thought of the new 2014 RoboCop.
Yeah, what's funny is I swear I had seen this movie before. And then I watched it, and I don't think I had seen it before. Like, I don't know what was going on. I just spaced it. Either I spaced it out or I didn't actually ever see it. So it was a kind of an interesting watch for me. And I actually watched that one prior to watching the 1987. Which order did you watch them in?
So I actually seen the remake before we even thought about this on the pod. I saw it in theater, actually. I took my wife to go see it because I'm a huge fan of the 87 one. So when I rewatched, I actually watched the original and went into the remake. The original I could play it in my mind how it goes because how many times I've seen it, but I just wanted to watch it again.
See, that's kind of how I felt about it too. And then I watched the remake and I'm like, wait, am I remembering the original the same way as so I went back. It'll be interesting to hear how your journey went with the original, then the remake, and mine the opposite direction.
Mm-hmm. But hey, let's get into it, man. Let's go into Act 1 here, my dude.
If elected mayor, my first act will be to kill the whole lot of you and burn your turn to cinders. I know it's on.
Okay, in this segment, we are doing remakes and sequels, coming attractions. So, I don't know. Once we started doing this, I realized there were so many coming attractions. I just thought it would be fun to talk about them. And Yumper has no idea what I'm coming up with, and then I'll just see what he thinks about it. But amazingly, this time around, not a lot of coming attractions for sequels and remakes within the next few weeks, because obviously I'm not going to do the whole year. Otherwise, we'd only have to do this segment once. So the next couple weeks, there's not a lot. But seeing as this is the beginning of 2026, I figured I'd just go take a look at what sequels and remakes did during 2025 and see how many of these you saw, Yumper, and what you think about them. So now, so I just decided to do the top 10 grossing movies. All right. First off, we have a Chinese film that I have never heard of, but it made over $2 billion. Now, it made $2 billion in China alone. It made like 23 million in the US, but it made $2 billion, and it's called Ninja 2. Have you ever heard of this movie?
Believe it or not, yes.
I figured you would have. Like, once I saw it, I'm like, I don't know what this is, but I'll bet Yumper does.
So I haven't seen it, but the only reason I know of it is because one of my coworkers at work, her and her husband they're Chinese for one, and they're huge fans of the anime, I guess, or the first movie that came out.
Right.
And I remember she had to go to a special theater to watch it because she said it wasn't in a lot of theaters. And she's like, it's really popular in China. And when I looked it up, I saw it was at the 1 billion mark it made at the time. I was like, holy crap, that's a lot of money. And she's like, yeah, it's super popular. I know it's about like a girl. Like,
She's a demon. I didn't quite get it. I just watched the trailers for both the original and the new one and just kind of went through it. But, different cultures, different storytelling techniques and stuff. But it seems like she is a demon, a half demon, half child of some sort. And people want to get rid of her. Sort of a Frankenstein-ish sort of thing where she's not necessarily dangerous, but people don't understand her or want to get rid of her because she has a demon inside of her. But
she kind of looks scary.
Yeah. It looked kind of interesting. And I actually, once I looked it up, I was like, maybe I will find this at some point and take a watch. I mean, over $2 billion. It's the highest grossing animation of all time. I don't know where it ranks exactly with regular movies, but it's got to be within the top 10, right?
Yeah, I would assume so. I mean, I don't even think the Avengers made over 2 billion. I can look though.
Yeah, I don't know. I will say one thing. When I'm looking this stuff up, it drives me insane how like American centric some of these sites are. And it's like they tell you what the domestic take is, like how much it made domestically. I don't give a shit. That's like saying, oh, well, I only made $5 between noon and 1. And I guess that's all I made. But I'm not telling you that I made $1,000 in all the other hours that I worked. Like, why do they parse that out as if international money isn't any good?
I don't know. It's on all of them too. So looking at the all-time box office records, I go by the site I use is the numbers. It's actually called the hyphen numbers.
I think that's where I might have found this.
Yeah.
too.
So number 1 is Avatar with 2.9 million. Number 2 is Avengers Endgame with 2.7. Avatar: The Way of Water 2.3. I didn't even see that movie. I had no desire to see it.
We're going to talk about it. It's one of the movies on the list.
Number 4 is Titanic with 2.2. The Force Awakens, a little bit over 2 million, 2.056. And then Infinity War had 2.048, with Ninja at number 7 with just over $2 billion.
Yeah.
So there are 2 Avenger movies, so they never hit 3 billion, but they're pretty close.
Right. And that may be, that Ninja number may be a little bit old because I believe I saw, it had 2 billion in China alone and then 23 million in the US. So 2.02. Oh, no, I guess I would be right. Okay.
Yeah.
Once I get into numbers like that, I have no freaking clue.
It's the in terms of looking at this, all-time international box office, it's number 2 all-time compared to Avatar.
Okay, so that's international.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, see, and that's where these numbers get all mixed up and stuff. It's like they're telling us as if like I said before, like as if international money doesn't matter. Like, no, it's how well a movie does in the entirety of everyone who can see it and pays for it. Like,
Yeah, it's crazy because looking at the movies that are, say, the digital animation movies, and Ninja is number 1. Ninja 2 is number 1. All the movies that are on here, there are mostly American movies. They have, like Zootopia 2, who just came out. They have a worldwide box office of 1.6, and $1.2 billion of that came from international, while only 400 million came from the U.S.
yeah. And then when you hear them talk about it, like I was surprised. So actually second on this list is Zootopia 2. And I was surprised because I had heard 400 million, right? But that's not true. It's over $1 billion because, you know, I just don't understand why people don't talk about things in.
Well, you gotta
idea
understand too.
of the
It's the
worldwide.
American bias, and not to get political here, but that dollar is going to be shrinking soon. So pretty soon we'll just be going by international.
Right. Well, like I said, so Zootopia 2 came in second on the list. Third is Avatar: Fire and Ash. I assume, Yumper, you did not see this since you didn't watch Fire and Water. Or Water and.
So I tried to watch the water one. I got maybe 15 minutes into it before I'm like, I don't want to watch this. When I saw so many commercials for Fire and Ash, and I'm like, it does not look interesting to me because did you see the second Avatar?
No. I
Okay.
watched the original in the theater, and I was like, sweet, that's enough for me. I actually didn't even think that. I just thought it was a fine movie. It was okay. There was nothing exciting about it other than the technology. And then when they came out with the whatever the water one, Way of Water, I was like, people care about this? Like, people still want to watch these movies? Like, and then I found out that James Cameron decided that's all he was going to do for the rest of his life. This is an old man who has really good ideas and makes great movies. And he just decided, I'm going to do Avatar for the rest of my life instead of anything else. I just don't understand it.
Well, the good news is supposedly he's talking about writing another Terminator film. I don't know. Well, of course, I don't know if Arnold's going to be in there or.
I don't know if that's an upgrade, really, like from just doing more Avatar movies. I always like when James Cameron does something new, like a new project, a new story, because that ends up being really good, right?
Well,
and then
I don't know.
the
Dark Fate
iterations are just okay.
To me, was okay. Dark Fate wasn't a bad film, but I think this new one's going to be based actually in the future instead of everything based in this time. So maybe that would be kind of good. I don't know.
Who knows where that timeline is anymore? Anyway, you know, like we've gone to the future. Like we started in the past. We did a time jump, and then I think we jumped to the future, and then we came back to the regular time, and then we ended up jumping back to the past again to the original movie, and then now like we're talking about in the future. Who knows? There's no timeline in this anymore. Like I would love to see somebody actually do an infographic of the Terminator timeline.
Well, after 2, I think his timeline is nothing happened after that.
Oh yeah,
so Dark Fate is basically the third one in the trilogy.
It's the same thing that happened with like the Halloween movies, right? Like they we're just like, you know what, we're going to skip the middle 5 of them and just go back to the original and make a new remake. And you're just like,
yeah, the
it's
only
not
difference
working,
is
guys.
Dark Fate was actually kind of decent. And those movies sucked. Those movies sucked bad.
Yeah, it just makes you want to, it's just like, and this is the problem right? With all of these movies, you can do a good sequel or whatever, but they're generally not as strong as the originals, right? The fact that the original is strong enough that you can make these sequels tells you how good it is generally. And then it's diminishing returns as you go. I mean, it's very, very rare for a sequel to actually be better than the original. And it's also fairly rare for a remake to do it, as we talk about on this show all the time.
Yeah.
Well, so anyway, you didn't watch Fire and Ash. I didn't watch it because I was tired. Look, and since I'm never, ever going to get another chance to say this, the worst part about the original Avatar, I was bummed at the very end when that fight just continued to go on. Like, it was like a Terminator situation where you think that it's done, and then all of a sudden the bad guy is fighting again. And there's a point when you watch that a helicopter or spaceship or whatever the hell it is falls, and it lands like right behind the bad guy. And I was just thinking to myself, if that had landed on the bad guy and just killed him, that would have been the greatest ending they could have had to that movie. So if you ever watch Avatar again, when you get to the end and you're watching, you see that, think of me and think, oh my God, would I have liked to see the helicopter land on the bad guy and end this movie right there? Or or do I want to just continue with with what we've been seeing with this stupid fight that wouldn't end?
Yeah.
So.
I don't know, man. I saw it in 3D, and it was like the real big thing back then, or whatever. You know, they had those little glasses on. So
Yeah, I did too.
But yeah, it hasn't held up to me.
No, I will tell you though, if you ever go to Disney, the Avatar ride is 100% worth it. It's maybe the best ride I've ever been in. It was crazy. Wow. Okay, so fourth, Lilo and Stitch live action remake. Did you watch that?
No.
No, I actually kind of like the original Lilo and Stitch, but nothing drew me to this. The first technically new movie to make the top 10 list was a Minecraft movie.
I saw that.
I saw that too. What did you think?
I actually liked it. I took my my son, who's a huge fan of Minecraft.
Yeah,
he loved it. He was talking to me about it the whole time. I went before the whole chicken jockey BS happened, where people were throwing stuff at the screen, which made no sense to me.
Okay,
but people did go nuts when he said that. When he said chicken jockey, and I was in the theater, and everybody in the theater, all the kids were going nuts. And I asked my son about it, and he just started laughing. I'm like, "What the hell does this mean?" But I felt like an old man.
Yeah, I think I watched it. It took me like 3 viewings. Like I watched a little bit, and then a few days later watched a little bit. It was okay. It didn't do much for me, but like it was a fine movie. And I'm sure if I had a kid that was like really into it and could, like I could get some commentary, it probably would have been better. But it was fine. I don't know. But that was the top movie that you could actually kind of call new IP for the year, which is kind of crazy. After that, Jurassic World Rebirth. Do you see it?
That's the
Scarlett Johansson movie. It was bad.
Dude,
you don't need to see it.
I saw the one before that, the one with all the originals coming back, and they ruined that franchise, man. I mean, listen, movies are subjective. So if you like what you like, my best friend is a huge dinosaur guy. Like anything dinosaurs, we go see.
Yeah.
He will like defend the movie and say it's great. Like he likes because the dinosaurs in it. I'm looking at more of a like, man, how are they going to keep rehashing this crap? That's the way I look at it. And it was bad.
So, my oldest son absolutely loves the original Jurassic Park, loves Jurassic Park 2, like really likes those movies because he saw them when he was little and he loved dinosaurs and stuff like that. He has seen every one of these movies up to that one you were just talking about. He saw that, and then I was like, hey, you want to watch Jurassic World Rebirth? And he was like, no. He's like, I'm not even going to give it a chance. And I was just like, oh, wow, okay. I was like, well, I was like, it's going a different way. Maybe it'll be good. No, it's terrible. I mean, it's terrible in the sense that none of the plot makes sense. And that's the big thing that kills a movie for me. Your world, I will go with you on whatever world you have, but your story has to make sense within your world. And that story acted as if somebody wrote the first part and somebody else wrote the second part and somebody else wrote the third part. And none of them made any sense together. It was not good.
And it's crazy because this one has Mahershala Ali, who's a 2-time Oscar winner.
And he's great. I actually love him in basically anything he's in. I think he's a great actor. Scarlett Johansson is fine. Like, this is not her best movie in the world, but it's not a bad movie. It all comes, like I said, it all comes down to this story. It all comes down to the story and the characters and everything. The actors did what they could. Maybe the director, I don't know how much the director had in with the story or the editing, because when you get into these behemoths, they kind of lose their autonomy a little bit, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. But yeah, so I don't know if it actually, how much of that is on the director. I know it's not on the actors. I thought the actors did a fine job. This story is just complete garbage.
Do you know what? It's not even a story that kind of threw me off from the other ones. It's the like, I think one of them, I can't remember if it's Dominion or the original Jurassic World. Like, dinosaurs are coming out. They're in Italy, and like there's like a town square, and people are drinking like coffee, and the dinosaurs are going around eating people, and people are just sitting there like normal, like, oh, it's just, And I'm like, what the hell? Like, how is that a normal reaction? Like, people are getting eaten, and you're still sitting in your seat watching the dinosaurs eat people while you drink coffee.
See, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. In that world, you have two different things going on. You have a world in which there are monsters that are eating people. And then you have, in the exact same scene in that world, you have people who are just chilling out and drinking coffee and acting as if it's normal. Those two things cannot exist together. Like, you have to choose one or the other. You can't, if they're just going to chill out and drink coffee, like, no big deal, then the dinosaurs can't eat people. Like, they have to be like pets. But if they're going to eat people, then those people can't sit there and have their coffee. Like, that's just not how any of it works. So.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
All right. So, 6 on, or no, I think we're at 7. One of the many Demon Slayer movies. Have you watched any of these?
The Korean one?
The Korean Demon Slayer. There's a ton of them, but this is the one that came out this year. And they
is
make
that
a lot
the
of
Kimetsu no Yaiba? Is that the one?
I can't tell you. I'm sorry.
Or the Infinity Castle or something like that.
I purposefully didn't even write it down because there's just a bunch of them, and I just wrote it's a Demon Slayer movie.
I've seen some of the other ones. I haven't seen the newer one.
Yeah, I mean, again, I've heard they're good. I'm not super into anime. I'm kind of into anime. Like, it just depends. Again, it has to do with the story more than anything. But I haven't seen any of the Demon Slayer movies.
So I have gotten into anime a little bit more, and that's because of one of my coworkers I work with, Christian. He's Mr. Anime. He goes to Japan every year. If you go to his desk, we work in tech. His desk all full of anime stuff. But he was telling me like about these animes. Now, I'm an old school cat. I don't know if you ever seen this show called Rory Kenshin, which is about a wandering samurai.
I haven't seen that one.
It's a really good movie called Trust and Betrayal, which is very bloody. And he basically is an assassin for Japanese dynasty. They're doing a rebellion, which is actually, it's based off a real character. But add that, and they go through the wars in Kyoto and all that stuff. They actually did live versions of it on Netflix, which is actually a really good live version of it. So I was always into that, and he got me into a lot of anime stuff, like one about a vampire hunter, cool stuff. So I started kind of getting into it a little bit more. Time is an issue for everybody, so
right. And some of those movies are long.
Yeah, they're very long, but they're very good. So I've been watching like here and there when I have time. But I did watch the Demon Slayer before, the Swordsman Village, I think it was called, and it was okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of them. If you like Demon Slayer movies, you have a number of them to get into. After that, number 8, How to Train Your Dragon, live action remake. Did you see it?
No, what's up with this damn live action remake? I saw the other one, the digital ones.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, okay, so you have animation. This is the same with Lilo and Stitch as well. If you have animation, and then you're like, I'm going to do live action, but the characters are digital, is it live action? That's sort of like I don't know. It's like a Roger Rabbit situation, right?
Oh my God, it looks horrible. It doesn't. This looks like horrible CGI.
Yeah, they're just CGI characters, and I guess you can call it live action because there are humans in the movie. But I mean, I feel like they called it something different back in the day when they were doing Cool World and Roger Rabbit and those
Cool
types
World.
of movies with actual animation. After that, F1 is number 9. The race car movie. It's actually
I have seen it.
F1 the movie. That's literally the first and only in the top 10. Absolutely new. Everything's new about the movie. Right? So you saw F1, you like it? I've heard it's good.
Yes, I do like it. Brad Pitt. It's actually just got nominated for an Oscar, I believe, for Best Picture, I think. I enjoyed it. I of course, with all the Oscars coming out, and we do a show on it, I try to watch all the Oscar movies that are nominated. But yeah, I liked it. It's a pretty decent film.
Yeah, I've heard it's a very like kind of an old school sports movie, underdog sort of.
I get a lot of Days of Thunder kind of
Days of
feelings.
Thunder. Okay,
Yeah.
I remember that one. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
kinda-
have to actually check that one out. I'm not a huge Brad Pitt fan. Like some people are like, oh, Brad Pitt, I'll watch it no matter what. I see Brad Pitt and I'm indifferent.
It's hit or miss for me, but I think he's a good actor.
Yeah. And then the last one is Superman. Now, Superman is interesting. I loved Superman. I've seen it 3 times.
Oh, wow.
I think this is a great movie. And I'm wondering, do you think this is a remake? Because there are so many callbacks to that 1980 or 1978 movie. And it's not technically a remake, but it is a remake. I mean, every new Superman movie is a remake, right? Unless there's a sequel to the remake. But I don't know. I had a hard time whether or not this was. I mean, I think I would call this a reboot because I think it was very good.
Yeah, I would say it's a reboot. I would say this film is probably the biggest reboot since the original Superman that came out in the 70s and 80s with Christopher Reeves, because I think James Gunn put a lot of his own original ideas into it. And now that we're talking about it, it's just kind of ridiculous how many damn, when it comes to superheroes, especially like Batman and Superman, how many remakes or different versions have come out that are completely, different from each other, but kind of the same. And there's kind of like retelling the same story. That's one thing I kind of appreciated, even though people didn't like it as much, was for the Fantastic Four. How many times have we heard the story about the Fantastic Four people going to space and then they get the powers? I did not need to see that crap in the movie. And then when we watched it, it's actually set after that happened. So they already have their powers and it's in like their first few years with the powers, which I thought was kind of like cool. So I don't have to worry about, seeing the origin story again. Like, I don't care about the origin story.
Yeah, exactly. I'm done with origin stories. Everybody knows what a superhero is. The origin story, and I personally hate flashbacks just in general. If you're going to do a flashback, that shit should be like, I don't know, a couple of minutes just to bring you up to speed if there's something, but that's it. Don't Don't do like some of these TV shows will do a whole episode of a flashback. Like, you just wasted an episode. You know, and Superman was like that. Like, you didn't have to go through his whole origin. Like, they talk about it a lot, right? Because there's different aspects of that come in. They show it, and we didn't need that, you know. And I think James Gunn does a great job with his superhero movies. He brings a lot more humor to them than a lot of people do. But I am completely with you on sort of the superhero genre, especially with DC. They have other characters, and they just don't even try. Or when they try, if it doesn't hit exactly right, then they just give up on it. Like Green Lantern, that movie was garbage. It wasn't garbage because it was a bad idea. It was just bad execution. You know, try it again. Do something different. Like, we don't need... I think at this point we have like 12 Batman movies or something like that. And some of them are good. Some are not. But they just keep doing it.
I think like if you do, you can take a character that has like a good IP or a good backstory and do something different with it. Like that can still be done. And just for example, the 2022 film, The Batman, that was directed by Matt Reeves. It's not an origin story, but it's him already as Batman, and he did something different that we haven't seen really emphasis on the Batman. Because in the comics, I'm not a real big comic reader. I know you're not either, but in the comics,
no, I actually am.
Are you?
I've read a ton of Batman, but I actually like most of the comics that I've read that I really enjoy reading do not kind of end up becoming IP
films.
Yeah.
But you know, in the comics, then Batman is a detective.
Yeah.
And the Batman, that was basically more of a noir crime movie than it was a superhero movie, which I really appreciate because it was something different. It seemed like a crime movie more than it was a superhero movie, but it had a superhero character in it. The same thing with the way Nolan treated the series, the way he did an origin story, but he did it to where he went to the League of Shadows, and then he had that all, you know, accumulate into the last part where that League of Shadows kind of carried. It was still in the underlying in the second one, and then it came back up to the last one, which I really love the Nolan series. You can do that, but you don't need to tell the same shit over and over again. Like, put your own spin on it. And James Gunn is really, really good at doing that.
Yeah. And a lot of times he just jumps into it if he can without an origin like he did with Superman. But yeah, the Christopher Nolan trilogy, I really like The Dark Knight. The other ones are just fine movies. And again, there's nothing wrong with Batman Begins except for it was an origin story that I didn't need again. The same with the Spider-Man movies. The second version with Andrew Garfield were horrible. And again, not because Andrew Garfield's bad or the stories were bad. It's just that, like, well, we just watched these movies. Like, why am I watching the same movie again? Like, exactly. Like, it just felt like the exact same thing over and over. And, you know, they're like, well, this time we're going to change the love interest name and we're going to go through that storyline. It's like, yeah, but you didn't really.
The funny thing is, if you watch the last Spider-Man movie, I think it's called Far Away. It's not Far Away from Home. It's
Far From Home.
Far From Home.
Yeah. Or
I forget the last Spider-Man one, the one that just came out. Well, it came out a few years ago. With the all three of them.
No Way Home.
No Way Home. With Tobey Maguire. Andrew Garfield kind of like talks about, like, he gives like little jabs towards his story because he's like, oh yeah, you guys fought cool characters. I fought a guy in a rhino suit. Like, so he kind of gives like a little slap to you know, his stories.
Yeah. Well, and I will say, like, people kind of, they got excited about that movie. People watched that third Spider-Man movie and they were just like, this is the best. This is so good. I thought that movie was garbage. Hot garbage. It was the worst. Like, it's possibly, I'd have to really think about it, but it's possibly the worst MCU movie, in my opinion.
Which is this?
That one, No Way Home.
Really? No, get out of here.
And it's because of the story. It's all comes down to the story. In my mind, you cannot save your movie with anything if the story is complete garbage. And the story is complete garbage. Doctor Strange coming in and just screwing up all of reality, even after he says he shouldn't do it, and then he does it, and he's like, dude.
But
no.
he's done it before though. That's why he actually goes through with it.
But he I'm saying he wouldn't do it again. Like if you believe what that character is trying to do and what he says in the movie about like we shouldn't do this, then he wouldn't do it. And then he does it anyway. And it's, I don't know. There's the story is insane to me. It's just not fun. And so it took me out of it within before the movie really even gets going, it's the whole Doctor Strange part. I'm out of the movie already. And I was just like, well, I watched the whole rest of it and I was like, I don't see what people were getting excited about.
Wow.
So yeah, that one was not good. I just rewatched Homecoming, which is the first of those. And I think that's a very good movie. It has Michael Keaton, who is in our second RoboCop movie here. Bringing it back around to that. And he was amazing in that movie. I would have loved to see him come back as the Vulture and do something. But instead, they went to whatever they went to. Like, it just...
They even had a scorpion in that film, too. He actually comes up to him in the prison.
Oh, right, in the prison. The end credits scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That they were setting up something good, and then they decided not to do that. So whatever. All right, let's wrap this thing up. There are a few sequels coming out so far in 2026. 28 years later, The Bone Temple is the top grossing movie of this year so far. Have you seen that one?
No, but that's actually available to stream, right? The Bone Temple.
It might be. Everything is anymore. It's like they're like, oh, I wonder why we don't make a lot of money in box office. Well, it's because 4 days after it comes out in a theater, you can watch it at home.
Oh, it's actually in theaters right now.
Yeah.
No, I still have to see the other one. I'm so far behind on a movies list. It's ridiculous.
Oh, there's so many, and the 28 years series. I saw the original. Is it 28 days? Is that the
20
first
days
one?
later. Yeah, 20 days later.
I saw the original. I like the original, but the other ones just missed me for different reasons. And at this point, I'm like, well, there's like 6 movies I need to catch up on if I want to watch these.
It's because Jim's not in them. That's why.
Yeah. No, and then Greenland 2, Migration.
I didn't even know there was a Greenland 1.
I was the exact same way. I'm like, what is this movie?
I saw the I forget the last movie I went to go see in the theater, but I saw the Weapons. I saw the trailers for it. I'm like, what the hell is this? There's a part 2?
Yeah.
And apparently it's on Netflix part 1. So that has not interested me. We're going through Greenland right now.
Right. Yeah, no. It's an insane thing that is part 2. It feels like Leonard part 6. A movie that has no other parts and says that it does, but it's made some money. It's made $17 million in 2 weeks, and then Return to Silent Hill just came out on January 23rd. It's the third film in that series. Have you seen any of the Silent Hill movies?
So I watched the first one.
That's where I'm at.
But I did recently watch the second one. Not fully through. I had to go through pieces because the second one is like a 3D kind of. It has a 3D tie-in, so I guess that's what they were trying to do in a theater. I watched it piece by piece. It's not that good. The second one's not that great. The first one I liked because I'm a fan of the games.
Yeah,
I played the games as a kid. I haven't played it in a very long time. I think I stopped around the fourth one, The Room, which I liked and people hated. But I like the origin, not the origin, but the backstory of it because it's kind of cool. I won't see it in theater. I'll probably see it when it comes out on stream, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I'm the same way. I played the game. I thought the game was good and creepy. It was, at the time, I think it was the first like scary game I'd ever seen and played. Like I thought it was cool. And then so I watched the movie and I thought the first one was fine, but yeah, I didn't pick up on the second one. And then the next sequel that will come out, it comes out February 5th. It is The Strangers, Chapter 3. And even though you call it Chapter 3, it's the 5th movie in The Strangers.
They need to stop. Like, the first one is good, very good. After that, they're all, to me, I didn't really like them. I think Tony's kind of on the same brave wavelength as I am. They're just not, their story writing is just bad.
Yeah. The original came out in 2008. It took them 10 years to do a sequel. And then they decided to reboot it like 3 years later. They did a complete reboot.
Which means the sequel didn't do well.
Yeah. And then they did, and as the reboot, they were like, this is going to be a trilogy. And that's why you have a Chapter 1, 2, 3. But yeah. Yeah, it doesn't.
The original's good.
It didn't do much for me. So, but that's it. That's what I've got for coming attractions now. So, okay, we can move into the main event here.
Okay, cool. Let's shoot into Act 2.
And now for my next number, I'd like to return to the classics.
All right, RoboCop, 1987. I grabbed the poster for this. I love that poster. What do you think?
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, and this is one that I remember seeing back in the day, but it's not the normal one that you see. Usually, you see the one where he's like stepping out of the police car, but this one that's like kind of cartoonish animated stuff. Looks like the cover of a comic book. I like this one a lot. Yeah,
I totally agree. And if you look at the Robo doc, that I don't know if you've watched that comes out with the making of RoboCop. That's actually a really good film too. Yeah,
it's on Tubi right now. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I was thinking about watching it before this, and I just didn't get around to it. All right, so let's get into this. The director in the tail of the tape here, Paul Verhoeven. He's actually done a number of things, but this stretch when he made this movie, so 1987, he did RoboCop. He followed that up with Total Recall, Basic Instinct in 92, 2 years after that, then Showgirls, and then Starship Troopers. That's a banger of a list. Now, I will say a lot of people trashed Showgirls when it came out, but it has become a cult classic. And all of these movies, so you got RoboCop, Total Recall, and Showgirls and Starship Troopers. These are all kind of cult classic movies. They have big followings despite whatever limitations they had when they came out. Basic Instinct was the only one I think that was a really big hit. And I think that's still got a pretty good following as well.
Yeah, Total Recall, another movie that just kept launching Arnold Schwarzenegger's career. Great film. The remake, we'll talk about that probably one day. Basic Instinct, of course, iconic scenes with Sharon Stone. And then Showgirls, even though you say it's becoming a cult classic, friend of the show, of the At the Show podcast, Richard Roper, would violently disagree with you on that because he hates that film. And he's like, it should not be anywhere near a cult classic. It sucks. It's a very bad movie. Maybe it's kind of come down to the the realm of The Room with Tommy Wiseau. If you ever seen that film, it's very bad. But Showgirls is not that great. But Starship Troopers, I remember watching that film in theater, and then that's another film I could turn on and still, again, art is showing reality, and that's kind of what's going on now. But we're not fighting giant bugs though. But the book I actually was reading the book, and I would have to say the movie is a lot better than the book, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah. Wow. So Paul Verhoeven, I mean, if you haven't heard of him, I don't know where you've been. Like he's a very good director, and I almost feel like these movies are sort of a testament to taking maybe not the greatest scripts or the greatest ideas and doing something that at least connects with the fans in some way, right? So like you may hate Showgirls, Richard Roeper may hate Showgirls, but there are a number of people out there that ended up like they really do like that movie and watch it a lot. Like, you know, I don't know. I thought it would always just be teenage boys rewatching that movie, but apparently it's got a much bigger following than that.
Yeah, I mean, and Verhoeven, he's known for pushing the limits in his films. His films are a little bit more gory in terms of action films, in terms of even like Basic Instinct and Showgirls. They're a little bit more sexual than films that were known at the time. So he's known for pushing the envelope with his style. A very, very underrated Dutch director and director, in cinema altogether. Verhoeven doesn't get his flowers enough.
Yeah. Yeah. He kind of reminds me of like a John Carpenter, right? Because you don't, well, I mean, when you know John Carpenter, you're like, oh no, this guy's great. But you'll be like listing off different movies, or you'll look at his movie list and you're like, oh, he did that one. Oh, he did that one. He did that one. I like all these movies. And you just don't necessarily know because he doesn't get as many accolades as some of the other top names.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, all right. The cast of this movie, and I'm going to have to look over here because I'm an old man and my eyes aren't really good enough to look at that. Peter Weller plays RoboCop, known at the time for The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension. Have you ever seen that?
Yes.
Yeah. Another cult classic, which I would say that's not a very good movie. I get why people enjoy it, but it didn't tickle me the same way it does for other people. He also, though, did Naked Lunch, which is a book by now I'm forgetting the beat writer.
William S. Burroughs.
Yes.
William S. Burroughs film.
I read The Naked Lunch and then watched it when I was in college. I took a class on beat writers. That book is insanity, and the movie, like if you read the book, you're like, there's no possible way somebody could make a movie. I mean, they tried.
Hey, and that's a David Cronenberg film too. And you know how much I love David Cronenberg. That movie is just ridiculous because he uses insecticide and basically becomes like having hallucinations of a giant beetle and all these bugs talking to him. I was like, what the hell is going on in this film?
Yeah. And the book is just, even in a class with a professor who had studied this stuff, it was hard to follow. Like that's the fact that they were able to do anything with it is amazing. He was also in a season of 24, and then he was also in a season of Dexter. So, and I just picked some of the ones that I feel like people watching this might recognize.
Yeah. He's also in a decent film called Screamers, which is a kind of like a sci-fi, I guess, horror film, I guess. He's in there with Roy Dupuis and Jennifer Rubin. Check that one out. I think it's on Prime for free. It's a pretty crazy plot for it.
Yeah. And if you're into Batman, we were talking about earlier, I believe Peter Weller is one of the many animated voices that has portrayed Batman. It's funny, as I was going through, a lot of these actors and stuff show up in Batman cartoons as voices.
Yeah, he does the Dark Knight Returns, I think, is what he does.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Based off the Miller book. Yep. Okay, next we've got Kurtwood Smith as Clarence Boddicker. You will remember Kurtwood Smith as Red Foreman from the 70s show, or that 70s show. He was also in Rambo 3, Dead Poet Society, also in 24, and a movie called Flashpoint, which was apparently pretty big, and I think I put it in because yes, Miguel Ferrer was also in Flashpoint. So a lot of these people were kind of traveling in the same acting circles.
Kurtwood Smith, probably he was in The Crush too with Alicia Silverstone.
Yeah. Oh, he's been in a bunch of stuff. I mean, I think so many people sort of pick him out as Red Foreman, but he's been in a ton of movies. It's just that he's never like the lead.
No, he his career is probably defined by this film and that 70s show. That's probably where most people know him from.
Yeah. And I think he's a great actor. Like whenever I end up seeing him, I really do enjoy him. And I knew he was in the movie, right? And then when I watched it again this time, I was like, man, this guy is really doing a good job. Like he pulls that character off, the Clarence Boddicker, so well. Like it's just, it was really good. So I forgot how much I liked him in that role. Next up, we have Nancy Allen. She plays Officer Lewis, RoboCop's partner. She was in the De Palma movies, and I believe I was going to write that down, like which ones she was in. But yeah, so Brian De Palma did like 3 movies that starred her in the 70s. Like he really loved using her in his movies.
Yeah, so it was a Home Movies, Dress to Kill, and Blowouts.
Yeah. And then she followed that up with I Want to Hold Your Hand, where she was like the big star in it. She was in 1941, famously the worst Spielberg movie, right?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
And then Poltergeist 3, I remember seeing her in. Are there any more that you remember Nancy Allen from?
She's in Out of Sight. Small role. And then in terms of like newer stuff, I don't think she's done anything big since like 2022.
No, she is a bit of an older actress now, and maybe, I don't know how much she's trying to work, but as we know, there's not a ton of roles for older actors and actresses out there. So, but she had a pretty good run, and those De Palma movies like kind of put her on the map back in the late 70s. She
is I just looked up her filmography. She's in a direct-to-video film called Children of the Corn 666, Isaac's Return. And the reason it makes me laugh is because John Franklin is actually from Blue Island, Illinois, who plays Isaac. He's in the original. His nephew is I went to college with him. His name's Tom as well, which is funny. He was my roommate, and he would tell me stories about John Franklin, which made me laugh. That's
cool. Yeah. And then rounding out the list, I mean, obviously there's more people, but rounding out the list is Miguel Ferrer. He plays Bob Morton, one of the executives. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I skipped right over Ronnie Cox. Ronnie Cox, Dick Jones. Dick Jones. You'll know him from the Beverly Hills Cop movies. He was the captain in in the Beverly Hills Police Department. He was in Taps. And then also Total Recall, another Verhoeven flick.
Probably he does I think he was in The Outer Limits. He also did that. Again, he's got like little spots in like Dexter and stuff like that, but nothing really of significance since I would probably say probably RoboCop or Total Recall.
Yeah. And I mean, and he's a character actor for the most part. Like he's pretty good and he's pretty noticeable, but he seems to have a little bit of a type, but he was good. He's good in this movie. He was good in Beverly Hills Cop, I remember. And what's funny is that I almost feel like this Dick Jones is like the mean version of the Beverly Hills Cop captain.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. And then now we're getting to Miguel Ferrer, Bob Morton, the executive that works for Dick Jones and doesn't want to work for him, wants to take over his job. Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. He was also in Flashpoint with Kurtwood Smith. He was in Traffic and Iron Man 3. I don't remember him in Iron Man 3, but I hate Iron Man 3, so that might be why.
Iron Man 3. I do not remember who he was in that film. Oh, he was Vice President Rodriguez.
Okay, very small then.
Yeah, so Miguel Ferrer is probably best known from RoboCop, but he was actually on a pretty popular TV show, which was Crossing Jordan, and I don't know if you ever heard of that one.
That is not one I've heard of.
Yeah, it stars Jill Hennessy, who is actually in RoboCop 3. She plays the doctor, but she, I think she's like a doctor or something. He plays a doctor in that role. I can't remember her role, but it's a pretty decent show. And also Jill Hennessy is really nice to look at if you're a big fan of her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved her from Law and Order. She was in Law and Order before she got killed off. Yeah, that's pretty much. And also, he's the cousin of George Clooney, which not a lot of people know.
Oh, I did not know that. Is he? He's got to be older than George Clooney, right? Like by a bit.
He was born in 55, I think. Miguel's also passed away. Yeah, he died in 2017, so he was 61. So yeah, he's 6 years older than George.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. All right, the box office and ratings here. RoboCop 1987, budget of $13.7 million, box office of $53.4 million, nominated Oscar for Best Sound and Best Editing. The ratings, it has a 7.6 out of 10 on IMDb, 92% on Rotten Tomatoes, and Roger Ebert gave it 4 stars.
Yeah, not surprising. Of course, the box office seems a little low, but I'm sure it made a lot more money in the VHS department. Everybody pretty much raves about this film for a number of reasons. So it doesn't surprise me that Ebert gave it 4 stars because looking into the future, Total Recall, when that came out, he also loved that film. I guess I had to look up him and Siskel's discussion on it because I'm pretty sure Siskel probably shit on it, which makes me laugh.
So, yeah, and it's a box office of 53.4. I mean, 4 times the money. It seems low, but those were huge numbers back then. We're talking 1987, and nobody was making movies for anywhere around like that. 13.7 was probably a pretty big budget at the time. And then making 53.7 obviously was so exciting to the studios. They made 2 more actual theater sequels to this.
Yeah.
So
got to capitalize on that money, man.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, let's move on to RoboCop 2014. I have no idea what the most famous poster for this is. It wasn't an iconic movie or anything, so I don't know. I picked this version because it's got RoboCop, and he is right there, and he's like with his wife, and that's a big point to this movie, is that he has a wife. It's a big difference between. It's probably the biggest difference, in my opinion, between the two. And we'll get into that when we talk about these plots. But this poster had his wife on there. And then, of course, the motorcycle, which the original RoboCop ran around in a cop car, and just a regular generic, that's the cop car. And then in this one, they had a fancy bike for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which actually could have been fancier. Like, I don't know why they didn't lean more into that bike. I feel like they could have done more with it.
There's a lot of things they could have done.
The director, Jose, I'm assuming this is Padilla.
Yeah, Padilla.
He's known for 5 foreign films. So like American audiences, people who are watching and listening to this from the US probably don't know what these movies are. I didn't have any clue. he made 3 English films, starting with RoboCop, then Rio, I Love You, and Entebbe. And then he did 2 episodes of Narcos and 8 episodes, so basically a whole season of O Mecanismo, which is a Spanish language, I believe, might be on Netflix. I don't know. Do you know much about Jose Padilla?
So he did also do episodes of Narcos Mexico, which is a TV series that they had on Netflix. Probably he had also a documentary called Esta Mira, which is actually a Portuguese. I don't know if I said that correct. Portuguese.
Portuguese, yeah.
Yeah. God, my pronunciation is horrible. He did a documentary. It's in Portuguese, which is really, really highly rated and whatnot. I haven't watched it, but from the reviews, I'm seeing that it's about like
well, I think most of his foreign films.
Yeah,
I think most of his foreign films are in Portuguese. I think he's from Brazil. Mm-hmm. So, which, you know, Rio, I Love You. You know, obviously Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Like, he's trying to bring that in, but yeah. So I think he's more well regarded outside of the U.S. probably.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, good to see him get a shot.
Yeah, it is interesting that I believe RoboCop was his first opportunity to do something in the U.S. Because based on his other movies, RoboCop doesn't seem like the one that they would have went with.
Yeah, I don't know, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, if you're him, you're just going out for directing jobs. It's just weird how they choose the directors on these, and they went with the guy who had these Portuguese movies that weren't necessarily big budget action.
Well, he
remakes.
did like a film called Elite Squad with Wagner Moura, I guess, that was kind of like a police movie. So maybe that's where they kind of got the. It's got an 8 point. It's got an 8 out of 10 on IMDb. So maybe that's where they kind of got the idea for him to maybe handle a RoboCop.
Right. Well, and I will say the way he handles RoboCop is a bit different and seems a little more in line with his other movies. But he was not happy with his time on RoboCop. Mm-hmm. He had different ideas about what he wanted to do, and he was basically told no. Like he realized he didn't have as much control as he had wanted. So it makes me wonder if we had gotten to see the movie that Jose Padilla wanted to make, like actually wanted to make, and they just let him go, how much different it would have been. I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up because I actually have a note of that. During the production of the film, Padilla phoned friend and fellow Brazilian director Fernando Meirelles to confide to him his frustration and the lack of creative control he was allowed by the studio. Padilla estimated that for every 10 ideas he brought to the project, the studio refused 9 and went on to describe the making of the film as the worst experience of his life. When word of his conversation became public, in an effort to appease the studio, he released counter statements expressing satisfaction with the film. I feel bad for him. He probably got blacklisted because of that.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so let's get into the cast. So we've got starting Joel Kinnaman as Alex Murphy. Now, you will notice that Peter Weller was RoboCop. Joel Kinnaman is Alex Murphy, because that is really kind of how these two characters felt to me. He is, I believe he's Swedish, but he was in The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, the Swedish version of that movie, the original, before the U.S. Sort of stole the idea and made English versions. He was in Safe House, Suicide Squad. He was in the first movie. He ends up getting killed, but then makes some cameos in like flashbacks.
That's another series that got diluted. There's another Suicide Squad that was done by James Gunn, which I think is better than the original, which was done by I think Michael Bay or
Yeah,
David Ayer. David Ayer.
Yeah, the Suicide Squads are both sort of just generically enjoyable, but they don't really do much for you. But he was also in House of Cards. I saw him in that. Like, I thought he was really good in that. He also did a movie that, or not a movie, but a TV series that I don't know if people were aware of with Gillian X-Files. Gillian Anderson.
Yeah, Gillian Anderson. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can't remember, but he played like a cop that may be dirty or not, and he was really good in that as well. And I'm sorry, I can't remember exactly what the name of that series was. But then also Altered Carbon and For All Mankind. So he's kind of done a lot of the episodic new TV stuff.
Yeah, probably known more for Rick Flag. Is probably his.
Unfortunately, because it's probably maybe one of his worst roles.
Yeah. The new Suicide Squad is probably his better film, but it's unfortunate. He's not a horrible actor. He's actually pretty decent.
Yeah, no, I think as an actor, he's good. He just, I think that he's just not as well known. He's a little bit generic white guy looking, So
Yeah.
he's not really a leading man type, like a film leading man, but he has carried a number of TV shows. So
Yeah, it's called I think The Killing. Is that what you're thinking about?
yes, The Killing. That was an interesting show. I think it takes place in. It either takes place in Ireland, I think, and then. But
Well, if it takes place in Ireland, I gotta ask my mom about it because that's all she watches is English and Irish crime movies and series.
it's definitely an English series, like with Gillian Anderson and him. It's pretty good. And then Michael Keaton as Raymond Sellers. Obviously, we know him from Batman, Spider-Man: Homecoming, Birdman, Beetlejuice, Mr. Mom, Gung Ho, like all sorts of movies. Michael Keaton is an excellent actor, and I kind of basically anything he is in, he elevates that movie, and I think he did a good job in this as well. But again, I don't think he had I don't think the character was written out great for him.
Yeah, I love Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
Was really excited when I saw him in the trailer for this film.
Yeah. And then we have Jackie Earle Haley as Rick Maddox. And
My guy.
every time I see Jackie Earle Haley, I immediately think of the Bad News Bears. Like, he will always be Kelly Leak to me. Like, he's just Kelly Leak. That's whatever character he is. That's just Kelly Leak as an adult now. But he was in Bad News Bears. He was in Watchmen, Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, he's done some interesting things, but in movies outside of Bad News Bears, like movies that aren't super well regarded.
I mean, he's done. He was in Lincoln. He played a big role in Lincoln. Steven Spielberg's Lincoln. He was who was he? I forget the name of the person he played. Albert Stevenson, I think he played. But Watchmen was kind of his coming out party to come back into, filming, which I was really happy because I thought he played a really good role as Watchmen as Rorschach.
I thought he was good in that role as well. I enjoyed his character. The movie is. I remember I liked the movie the first time I saw it, and then I rewatched it, and I didn't like it as much.
He's also in Semi-Pro as Dukes, the hippie that wins the big check.
Yeah, I saw that he was in Semi-Pro, and I could not remember who he was. I was like, maybe he just had a bit role or something. I don't know. He's tiny. He's a small person. Like, I don't know how he was in a basketball movie.
Yeah, but he's badass though. Like that dude. I think he's like a 5th degree black belt. He's pretty Pretty badass.
Probably because he's 5 feet tall, right? Like,
Yeah.
all right, moving on. Michael K. Williams, Jack Lewis. He is RoboCop's partner. Probably best known for The Wire, but he was also in Gone Baby Gone, 12 Years a Slave, Inherent Vice, and he is actually gone now. Like he died sadly. But did you know much about Michael Williams before this? Yeah.
The Wire. Everybody knows him from The Wire, which is great. But he does even a better role, I think, in Boardwalk Empire. He plays Chalky White, which is he's a leader of kind of like the African American side of the the prohibition scheme. I really liked him in there. Omar Little is probably the most famous role he's gonna have, but he was in 12 Years a Slave. Phenomenal actor, and I mean when we get into the breakdown, I'll go more into it. But phenomenal actor,
right? Gary Oldman. Surprisingly, did not see Gary Oldman being in this movie, but Dr. Norton, of course, True Romance, The Professional, the Batman movies, and also 8 million other movies. Like Gary Oldman is doing everything. I think right now he's in that MI6 Old Horses or something.
Was he in MI6? He was in Oppenheimer. I know he played President Harry Truman. He did the film with Winston Churchill, Darkest Hour. He won an Oscar for that.
Yep.
One of the greatest character actors ever. Known for changing his voice and his accent to the point where today even he doesn't know his original accent because he's done it so many different times. Just a phenomenal actor.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just put a few movies up there that I wanted to put there because some of these people you just can't even get into their resume because it's so long. And then Abby Cornish as Clara Murphy. I didn't know much about her, but she was in Stop Loss, Limitless, 7 Psychopaths, and then that 3 Billboards in some county in Missouri.
Yeah, Ebbing, Missouri.
Yeah.
Great film, by the way. But that our guy Sam Rockwell kind of takes the cake in that film. He's really good. That's probably where I know her from. She's in Jack Ryan, Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan show. Okay. I never watched that. And then I guess this year she did a film called I'm Beginning to See the Light, which is getting good reviews. It got 7.2 out of 10. With Jack Houston, who I do not know who is, but he is. But something that came out last year, 2025. So
yeah,
she's still making movies.
Yep. Okay, let's jump into the box office and ratings. The budget, I think officially the budget is $100 million, but I saw that it's somewhere between 100 and 130 million, as if they didn't want to be completely clear about it. It made 242 million, so possibly doubled its money. Pretty good for a movie. Ratings 6.1 out of 10 on IMDb, 50% on Rotten Tomatoes, and 52% on Metacritic. Any thoughts on these numbers?
Yeah.
Seems about right, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I will say the only thing that surprised me was that it made so much money.
That doesn't surprise me because if you watch the trailer for it, they did a very, very good job with the trailer.
Selling the trailer?
Yeah.
So it was on the trailer and on the name.
Yeah. It got me hyped to go see it in theater.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on to our next, we're kind of doing this a little bit new this time, calling this the cast character clash. We have Peter Weller's RoboCop versus Joel Kinnaman's RoboCop. So first off, the casting of these two, which one did you like better and which one did you think did a better job?
Well, of course, I'm going to go with the original. I thought Peter Weller was very, very good but also in fairness, it's two different roles. And They're
It
showing
really
more
is.
of a human side in the new remake, while in the previous one, it's more of being more machine and robotic. And I thought Peter Weller was excellent. Um, he did have a little bit of his human side come through in the beginning of the film, but as a machine, like he does all the robotic movements. Of course, the way he changed his voice, I thought he was very, very good as the machine. But I would go with Peter Weller just for the aspect because it's RoboCop. Now it's not RoboHuman.
Right.
So I would have to go with him. What about you?
Yeah, I'm with you. I like Peter Weller better in this role. Like Joel Kinnaman does a good job as kind of the emotional stuff, but again, like you said, this is RoboCop. We did not come for this. And the RoboCop character, like the actual character that Peter Weller played, was more suited to the film. It was more suited to the story. Like it was a robot. And then the Joel Kinnaman version of RoboCop, like they did some weird expository stuff with what they were doing with him and how he was going to act and stuff. So he really only had a little bit of an opportunity to do like a robotic thing, and it wasn't good. It was just dull. It was not, it wasn't really much of anything. So, yeah, I think we're both going Peter Weller, and we're both going 87 RoboCop character over the 2014.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's run through the rest of these. I set these up as what I felt like were the same characters because obviously they changed the names and stuff. This first one was a little bit tough for me because Jackie Earle Haley doesn't have a huge role in the 2014 movie, but it does kind of feel like he's trying to fill that Kurtwood Smith role in the movie. So what do you think, Kurtwood Smith versus Jackie Earle Haley?
To be honest with you, that's probably the best you could do because the character that Kurtwood Smith plays as Clarence Boddicker, he's very, very small in the remake. He's not even, he's not even like a really big character in the film, which was very disappointing to me when I went to go see.
Yeah, absolutely. I personally, I like Kurtwood Smith better. Just the way he acted that role, he had a lot more to do than Jackie Earle Haley did. Jackie Earle Haley possibly did a better job of acting because he made me hate him. Like I hated him more than I hated Kurtwood Smith. Kurtwood Smith, I was having fun with that dude. Jackie Earle Haley, I was just like, this guy sucks.
Yeah, Kurtwood. I mean, in terms of this character, the more believable character, I would say Kurtwood Smith showed more of a psychopath kind of tendencies. He could be charming and then completely like apeshit crazy. It always made me laugh when he blows off his hand and he goes with the little gun, like he's still playing a game. He was just excellent in the film. It's like, come on, Sal, the Tigers are playing tonight.
Yeah.
Just his little one-liners. He was just phenomenal in this film. And Jackie Earle Haley, unfortunately, he didn't have a lot of screen time. But yeah, he did a good job for what he did.
Yeah. Yeah, and now that I think about it, like the character itself, Kurtwood Smith actually had more depth to that character, amazingly. Even though he's supposed to be sort of this, one note crazy psycho, but Jackie Earle Haley kind of had less, like that character had less to do with anything. All right, so I think we're both in the Kurtwood Smith, Clarence Boddicker, Ronnie Cox versus Michael Keaton. So these are the two executives at the top of these things. I could have gone with that old dude from the 1987 version, but he really
Jerk.
Yeah, he wasn't the guy, right? So what do you think, Ronnie Cox, Michael Keaton?
I like Ronnie Cox's acting, and I think him playing the snug old bastard is good. But I'm actually going to have to go with Michael Keaton here. I think Michael Keaton put a little bit more emphasis on the role, and his role was a little more developed than Ronnie Cox. he's known. Dick Jones is known as you don't mess with him. He does have some ties to the underworld, but I think Michael Keaton's role was it really played into the capitalist douchebag that is a billionaire owner. So I really liked Michael Keaton the way he portrayed the role in the film.
Yeah, I agree. Ronnie Cox is excellent as this like terrible, horrible like person. Michael Keaton is much more nuanced and does a lot more. So you almost get sucked into the Michael Keaton role. Like he's not so bad, you know, like, but he is, he's terrible. Like, but he just does such a good job, with all this stuff that, you know, you kind of, I don't know, you're kind of okay with him, which you shouldn't be. All right. So this is another one. The one for one was a little bit off, but Miguel Ferrer as the executive in charge of the RoboCop program versus Gary Oldman, who was a doctor who was in charge of building RoboCop. But they had two very different sort of motivations in the movies, but they're kind of the closest analogs. So what do you think?
This
Miguel.
one, so Miguel's not really and to me anyway, he's not really a bad guy in the film. He does some bad things, like, you know, snorting coke off hookers. But to me, he's not really a bad guy. Dick Jones is mostly put out as the bad guy, and Miguel Ferrer is like kind of saw his opportunity to create a better product to help, you know, the streets, save the streets. And Gary Oldman's more of a sympathetic character, just in terms of screen time and stuff like that. I got to go with Gary Oldman just because he's Gary Oldman.
Yeah. Miguel Ferrer, again, yeah, I guess I hadn't really thought about it. I did see him as a bad guy, but you're right. He's not really a bad guy. He's just doing a thing and he's actually doing it better because his whole thing was Dick Jones's project did not work. So he stepped in and
killed that guy.
Yeah. And brought in the RoboCop program, which was a success. He did a good job. He's an asshole, right? So that's why maybe you get him, you sort of think that he's a bad guy because he's just an asshole, really. He plays a crappy executive very well. Gary Oldman as the doctor, I don't know. I wasn't into the character.
They try to make him more sympathetic.
Father figure. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
well, we're going to get into that too, but the whole movie is trying to be way more sympathetic. And Gary Oldman's good at what he does. Definitely. I didn't like the character, and I didn't really like Gary Oldman in it. Like, I just didn't feel like it fit him. So I'm actually going to go Miguel Ferrer on that one. Nancy Allen versus Michael K. Williams as RoboCop's partner.
Nancy Allen all the way. Michael K. Williams, his character was completely wasted. That character of for one, Michael K. Williams, great actor. I gave him his flowers earlier. I don't understand why they had to change Nancy Allen's character to male. I mean, I thought that was kind of cool. She was a badass chick.
Yeah.
In the first film, in the films. Why they had to change it, I have no idea. To me, that the Lewis in the newer remake is just a wasted character, in my opinion. So I have to go with Nancy Allen.
Yeah. Oh, I totally agree. The Lewis character in the original had a lot to do and became and really helped RoboCop through stuff, and doing stuff. The Michael K. Williams Lewis character, I honestly, at this moment, I can't remember what he did at all. Like, he shows up a few times, but it seems like just to allow RoboCop to interact with him to show that RoboCop isn't who he was, right? Like, that seems to be the only reason to have Michael K. Williams in there, because in the remake, he's like Murphy's best friend. And in the original, Murphy literally meets Lewis first day he gets killed. So like he doesn't actually know her that well, other than their sort of like ability to form a partner relationship in that first day.
Yeah, they're partners basically.
Yeah. Okay, extras. Those are the main characters. Let's get into the extras. We'll go quick through these. News reporters on all the different clips that they used in 1987 versus Samuel L. Jackson as the conservative TV news host. Who you got?
Samuel L. Jackson.
You like Samuel L. Jackson?
I like both of them. So can I give this one a draw because I actually like both of them. I like both. To be honest with you.
Yeah. No, Samuel L. Jackson's just always awesome. But again, I think I got to go with the original news reporters because I think it was better directed, it was better written, and it came across better what their role was in the movie. Obviously, they're not as good actors as Samuel L. Jackson, but I don't think they were supposed to come across that way. Samuel L. Jackson is just always great in everything, but I will say, yes, I know he says motherfucker in every movie. I didn't need the bleeped motherfucker at the end of this. I don't know. I was okay with it until that point. And again, that's not Samuel L. Jackson's fault. That's writing and directing. And
the thing I think why I kind of saw more into it's because he's a mouthpiece for the establishment, like the company. He's trying to boost them up, which is kind of what the media does.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just tough. I think I'm going, it's hard because and this is happening in a lot of these, like the better actor, obviously Samuel L. Jackson, but the story that is conveyed by what the actor is doing goes the other direction for me a lot of time. So yeah, maybe I'm at a draw on this one as well. Okay. No wife versus Abby Cornish as the wife. I guess this is like, would you rather have no wife or Abby Cornish in her role?
I will go with no wife.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. All right. And then finally, gang members versus corrupt cops. Which did you prefer?
The gang members by far.
Oh, I think you froze there for a second. I didn't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. The gang members by far.
Yeah. The corrupt cops, again, didn't have much to do. The gang members were fun.
Yes. And they were more established in certain ways, you know.
Oh yeah, they absolutely got more screen time. You didn't learn much about their character. They were just these psycho, like sort of like whatever two-dimensional characters, but they were fun to see. Like you wanted to see them on the screen. And when you went to the corrupt cops, you were just kind of like, oh, just more corrupt cops.
Yeah. I thought they were more fleshed out.
Yep. All right. So I'm not keeping track of this, but I think we're getting a pretty clear view of where we're going here.
Yeah.
The plot point punch out. Okay. This is where we're going to talk about these two movie stories. Okay. So we have 1987 RoboCop. Alex Murphy gets transferred to the worst precinct in Detroit. He gets killed on his first day working. They bring him back as the RoboCop, but that's all. He doesn't know who he is. And he sort of starts to figure it out as we go through the movie. But that's his story. And then it turns into be like a revenge movie where he's figuring out who the bad guys are, going after the gang members, Clarence Boddicker, which eventually leads him to the corporation that actually built him.
Yeah.
This goes up against 2014, where this guy, this Alex Murphy, has been in this police force for a while. He's got a partner. He's got a life. He's got a wife and kids. Everything's going for him. And they realize that there's something going on with corrupt cops, dealing weapons and stuff. They're trying to figure it out. And then it all goes bad. And he gets shot up a lot, but he doesn't die.
Well, he gets blown up.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It's the Lewis gets shot, and then they go after, and then they don't get him, and then they blow up his car, which would have killed him, I guess, or he wouldn't have been killed. He'd just be maimed really bad. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
he blew up.
He
I
doesn't
don't
die.
know.
Yeah, the car blows up. He's jacked up, and then everything's going on. So the world at this point is being policed by CCP Corporation's robots. The Ed 209, famously from the original movie that goes bad and kills the executive, is actually their main thing that they're using. And you see right away in these like clips from Middle Eastern countries that these robots are terrorizing these countries, and there are Congress people fighting to keep robots from patrolling our streets. OCP decides that they're going to put a man in a robot so that they can get past this roadblock that they have, and they can show that these robots can police American streets. And then, of course, there will be military contracts coming from that. They just want the money. Like, so they're just trying to get it, and they're fighting against the liberals, I guess. That's Samuel L. Jackson's role, calling out the Democratic senator for blocking, for the bill that blocks having robots in the streets. So Murphy doesn't die, even though they remove like his entire body. Like when they show him at that point, he's just a head, lungs, and heart, and the rest is body, which I assume is what the 1987 would have looked like if we had seen it. But yeah, that's what it was. But he remembers everything. And then the whole movie goes from like, there's a whole training montage sequence where they're building him up to be on the street. He eventually gets on the street, cleans up crime, and then starts to remember what happened to him and goes after the bad guys, leading to, then it gets a little bit more in line with the 87 movie. There was a lot more to say in that. All of it was less effective to me. What do you think?
Totally agree, man. Extremely less effective. The 1987, I think, the 1987 had a lot better character development, a lot better plot development. Well, I know I skipped ahead for character development, but a lot
that's
better
all right.
plot development. The 2014 film, I think they were trying to rewrite a lot of stuff that to make it new and more relatable to what was going on. But to me, it was kind of dry. More, it didn't have a lot of substance, a lot of meat to it. It was more like a boilerplate kind of crap to me.
Yeah. So for any of the listeners, I have a slide up here, and I have just some questions up there. Obvious plot holes, better character development, best scenes, worst scenes. What was the movie trying to say? These are just things that we're going to be talking about as we go through this a little bit. But yeah, the overall, I felt like the 2014 movie tried to humanize everyone, right? Like it made RoboCop into a family man. And that was really odd. So I've got obvious plot holes up here. I don't have a lot of obvious plot holes for these movies, either one, even though they were very different. Except for the fact that it was more of a choice, and that gets into your character development. Like, they chose to make Peter Weller's RoboCop from 1987 have no memories. He has no family. He died. He was a dead person. His family buried him and has moved on. And so when he comes back as RoboCop, he doesn't have these memories right away and is just the RoboCop. In the 2014 version, he never dies. They bring the wife in right away because she has to approve of them using her husband in this way, which brings, if there's a plot hole, that's it. Like, that's a lot of, that just brings in so much complexity that they have to address in the story that it hurts the movie, I think.
That, and one of the things I didn't like about it was, in RoboCop, I love the fact, the original RoboCop, I love the fact that they kind of let Murphy be his memory wiped. He remembers some things, like they show him in the first person view, the POV, of him shaking hands with Miguel, or him like being kissed on New Year's, and him being introduced, but he doesn't remember what happened previously to him being RoboCop. And Lewis kind of like jars that all up by seeing him and calling him Murphy, which kind of like scrambles his memory a little bit. And then part two, the remake, they just basically, he knows everything, which I was like,
Yeah, well, and that was another thing in the 87 version, nobody knew who RoboCop was. They did not call him Murphy. He was RoboCop. And his partner, Lewis, just noticed a few little quirks of RoboCop and realized that this might be her partner, Murphy, who was killed. And so that's like a little like side plot sort of mystery that she's trying to work out, right? And RoboCop doesn't know. When she calls him Murphy, it starts to jog something in his brain, but he doesn't know that he's Murphy, right? Like, and in the remake, his partner knows who he is. Everybody knows that who this guy is, and it's like man versus himself, sort of, but also man versus machine, like him trying to figure himself out. But it's all very much within the story is about Alex Murphy's personal journey of figuring out who he is now that he is mostly machine. That's the whole point to that movie, as far as I could tell.
Yeah. So the major differences, I think, is RoboCop, the original, is satire.
Yes.
It's a lot
100%.
of satire, 100% satire. And the remake, they lost the reason why RoboCop, the original, was such a success. I mean, there's some ways in it that it has like corporate greed and whatnot, but they went into more of they try to humanize the guy when people want to see RoboCop just fucking shoot people and blood and gore, which is what made RoboCop popular, to go along with the satire. It was over the top for a reason. And the newer one, they just didn't do that. They try to humanize everything, and they kind of lost what made it popular, which is why probably people didn't want to go see it as much.
Yeah. So I totally agree. The 1987, and I didn't realize it as much until I watched the 2014. That 2014 movie was, I think they tried to do a little bit of satire. Like they tried to show, but it was it was too close to what's really happening, right? And Samuel L. Jackson, his character, that was taking the place of the news anchor's satire of the situation. But we've seen that character. It didn't seem like satire. It just seemed like that's the world in 2014.
Yeah,
that was the world.
and they cut out the commercials.
Yeah.
The commercial was no commercials on the new one, and you'd laugh, but it's like the commercials to me add so much because they were ridiculous, yes, but they added so much to the way they're making fun of how propaganda and shit influences people. Like with the car, it has like Godzilla like type creature like surprised by the car.
Yeah.
It's just it's ridiculous, but that's the way people sell stuff, and it just shows. That was so a big part of the story, even though it was like you think it was a throwaway piece. It just showed how that world was working and what their view of everything was. The Samuel L. Jackson character replaced that. I think he's awesome, but I think like it lost the luster of what the original was trying to do.
Yeah. He was too believable in that role. Like, satire requires the thing that you're satirizing to be over the top and crazy. It needs to be, if you want satire to actually work, you have to be able to watch it and get what they're saying right away. It needs to hit you like a hammer. Like, it needs to be over the top, and it could, you could say, oh, it's too much. But that's what you need for satire if you want people to understand the satire. What they were doing with Samuel L. Jackson and the news clips that they were showing and stuff, that wasn't satire. That was just dystopian, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it didn't come across that way. Like, you can watch that movie and go, oh, I don't want that world. But you don't necessarily know that they're making a point about the world that we are in right then, which in 87, they were 100% doing that.
And, there are there's now, not to completely crap on the remake, there are some things that I liked in the remake in terms of, but Gary Oldman and Michael Keaton's, they did their best with what they were given. They had great performances. Jackie Earle Haley, he did the best what he was given to give his performance. In terms of the way, technically, of course, the technology to make RoboCop, the newer one, look better. I like the POV shots; those were kind of cool. But even that, like, as corny as like the Ed 209 stop motion, there's still like a nostalgic charm to it because it's stop motion, and me, Cotton, I'm a fan of the huge practical effects.
Yeah,
it was like a little, that to me was kind of cool. But like there was no character even for the Ed 209 to be like, that was Jones's creation, and Jackie Earle Haley, his robots are the creation. Now, I did like how they explained why he wouldn't attack, because they decided to throw the whole Prime Directives bullshit out, which is what he has to have a band or a sensor that would prevent him from attacking, which makes sense. While in the original, that was kind of like a plot twist. So that was kind of okay, I guess. And another thing, how they explained they had to make him more machine in the original because they're trying to humanize everything, and because of his response time. So they lowered his dopamine, and it makes him think that he's actually doing the actions that the robot's doing.
Right. Yeah, that was one thing I did not like about the story, and it didn't make any sense to me because Michael Keaton's character as the CEO, they're looking at this stuff, and they ran a robot through, and by the way, this is a major problem. They spent way too much time training RoboCop. In the original, you're like 10, 15 minutes into that movie, and RoboCop's already out on the beat working, and like, maybe it's a little bit longer than that, but he moves quickly. We spend way too much time with Jackie Earle Haley and the training of RoboCop in this. But then they run him through this training montage against a robot. The robot beats him by 5 seconds. That's what it was. 5 seconds overall. And they're saying, oh, and it's because his human part of his brain was double checking everything. Like, the human part of the RoboCop brain didn't want to shoot the guy exactly. He gave him an opportunity, like let her go, you know, and then he killed him. Whereas the robot just kills everybody and doesn't even do anything. Michael Keaton's response to that seems like what the movie felt like they were doing should have been perfect. This is what America needs. They need to see that our robot has human emotions and doesn't just like straight kill everybody. But instead they were like, that's terrible. Get rid of his emotions, make him a robot, which they ended up doing. Once that visor comes down over his eyes, he's no longer in control of himself, which is a major point to the movie that once they say it, they ignore for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, and I think again, trying to humanize the characters so much, Michael Keaton, at first you don't think he's a bad guy because he's having a talk with the doctor and I guess their lawyer, and he's trying to tiptoe the line of putting out a product that meets the standards of the robotics law. Because remember, he's like, and that means that he kind of does have control. While Dick Jones is a complete asshole. He's like, oh, who gives a shit? And, you know, when Miguel Ferrer, even though, you know, Alex Murphy's dead, they own that. They own his body, basically. So that, to me, it was like, you're spending too much time on this bullshit. Also, the thing that I just thought that pissed me off was the I'll buy that for $1 guy. It's only said one time in the damn new movie, and the other movie, even though he was hilarious and.
Oh, I loved it, but again, it was part of those commercials that we saw. Yeah, it was part of the satire. It was great. I remember that. I don't actually remember him saying, "I'll buy that for $1."
He says that. Jackie Earle Haley says it like, "I'll buy that for $1." When
okay.
But I think it's when they're watching him train. But one thing I do want to point out is, you know, the biggest difference to me besides the character development is Detroit. Detroit in the original is grimy. It's you know, this hellhole. It has all this personality with all these bad characters. You know, the guys that trying to rape the girl that he shoots in the dick. You know, stuff like that gave personality, and Detroit in the new film, the remake, is very bland and has no personality at all.
Yeah. Well, in one of the major plot points of the original was that they were going to tear down all of Detroit and build new Detroit, like a whole new city on top of it, which with the corporation would own. And it almost feels like in the new movie that actually has already happened. The corporation owns the entire thing, but they don't do a good job of making that point that they own everything, even though they do own the cops, like all this stuff. It's I don't know. It's just not done as well.
It is dumb. It to me, it's just, I have it here in my notes. Where does it say? PG-13 neuters the entire concept.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The other thing I wanted to bring up too, and I've got my notes here, you talked about it, the prime directives. In the original, RoboCop sees he has prime directives: protect the people, uphold the law, whatever. But then there's number 4, and it says classified. That is interesting. There's a little bit of a mystery to that, right? You see that and you're like, oh, I wonder what that is. And then later you find out what the classified directive is, and it's that he can't kill any executives of OCP. So in the new one, they get rid of the directives altogether. They never make any point of it. And then they add that like bracelet that makes them a red thing, and then he can't kill him. And I think it was supposed to be the same sort of twist at the end that he couldn't kill them because they had this, but it didn't play out that way at all because there was no mystery leading up to it.
It totally didn't. The villains are bland and forgettable in the newer one, and I think that's, you know, I don't know if that's studio involvement or studio fear, but like I have it, you know, even they're like the concepts are just not there. And if you really want to break it down, I don't like the fact in the new one that the suit's clean and silky. I want it to be uncomfortable. I like how it looks uncomfortable in the original. It's uncomfortable because he's a fucking robot. Like, and on top of that, in the original, they say we can save his left hand or right hand, and Miguel Ferrer's like, no. Bob, the character's like, no, let's go all robotic. You know, keep it so he has all the advantages.
Yeah.
And in a new one, they say, like, what's the advantage of keeping that hand?
Yeah.
So he can touch, like, it doesn't make any sense. I mean,
I don't know. It was weird. They were fixing problems they didn't have. They made RoboCop black, like a black robot, which of course the black partner had to point out that, you know, which was ridiculous. The black RoboCop just didn't look as good. I like the silver.
Yeah, and there's like that was part of the trailer. Let's make him look more sleeker.
Yeah.
No, I think the studio completely forgot. Well, you know what? I would agree with Padilla saying the studio in fear because I think they just want to make their own version of what they think, what they want, or what you should like an audience, and not doing any research of what the audience likes. They wanted their version and not, you know what I mean, like it, which completely missed the mark.
Yeah. No, and you're saying that it's all way more bland, partially because of that PG-13, but also because I think that they didn't want to make these billionaires out to be as horrible as they are, right? That's where the satire falls apart if they were trying to do that at all. Like, they're a generic bad guy, but you don't get the feeling that the entire company is bad or that these guys are necessarily 100% bad because they make them somewhat likable or whatever. And that then they're just making these decisions based on money and not because they're assholes. Whereas the 1987, they're horrible. They are terrible people. They are killing each other. I mean, Ed 209 kills that executive, and Bob in the elevator's like, that's life in a big city. Like,
yeah, I mean, but even the part where Dick Jones is like, it's a minor step back, and even the old man who's a horrible person is like a minor step back, Dick. I'm very just like, because the guy just got blown away, like literally destroyed in front of everybody. You know that I don't know. I have like some core comparison points that I put out like on my notes, and you know, the tone for 87 is angry, cruel, and mocking power. And I think 2014 wants to be serious, but says nothing dangerous.
Yeah. Well, he wanted to make an action movie with heart. It seems like.
Yeah, and you know, like again with the audience, 87 lets you connect the dots, and 2014 explains the dots until they lose meaning.
Yeah. All right. Did you have any best scenes or worst scenes?
For best scenes, I did like the scene where he shoots what's his name? Jackie Earle Haley when they play the Tin Man song.
Yeah.
That part was pretty funny.
With the stun gun.
Yeah, I mean that part because Jackie Earle Haley is just being an asshole, so that made me laugh. From the new one. In terms of the original, shit, there's tons of them. My favorite scene is when Colonel Clarence Boddicker comes and kills Bob, and he tells the hookers to get out, bitches leave, which is actually from Paul Verhoeven, who would refer to the actresses as like, how do we get the bitches out? Do we say bitches leave? And that's why Kurtwood Smith said that to get a pop from everybody, and Verhoeven loved it so much he left it in.
That's funny.
But yeah, just stuff like that. I thought, you know, that part was great. The Murphy kill scene is just brutal in the original. It's tough, but it just shows like the ruthlessness of the characters. It's not my favorite part, but it's pretty cool.
Well, I would say, but that scene is really good, right? Like what they did to get to that scene And then you see how bad Boddicker is, and these gang members are sitting around laughing as he shoots his hand off and does all of this, and then he lets them kill him. Like it's way gorier. You know, that's where you get your rated R-ness to it. You know, it's much more. Yeah, I don't know.
They had to cut like part of that too because they were getting an X rating.
Oh, I believe there is. Yes, there is an extended version of the movie that is just more gory. Like that's all that. Like in this movie is pretty gory. One thing when he kills Boddicker at the end with the spike, they don't show it, and that's got to be in the extended version, right?
But they don't show it. But when he stabs him, like the blood splatter shows up on his chest, and I was like, "Holy shit!" That's another thing too. Like the characters are just like I don't care. Like Emil, who his death is suitable for the characters. The character's horrible. The guy who gets killed by the toxic waste.
Yes, and then splatters across the car.
Yeah, he's a horrible person. Like, but I mean, yeah, he died horribly, but you're kind of like, yeah, you got what you got. You know, you got what you deserve. And the film, like the newer one, it's like, you know, let me just shoot you.
Yeah. Oh, and then, you know, in the new one, they're like, oh, a 50 cal can kill him, can get through it. And then they know this, and they're like, okay, use a 50 cal, which they don't use. All of those weapons, not a single weapon that any of those bad gang members, when he's breaking in and finding things out toward the end, when they have that massive gunfight in the hallway, not a single one of those were a 50 cal.
Oh,
round.
God. That's another thing, too. That pissed me off because I thought Curtis Boddicker was going to be like a big role in the film, and then he goes and kills him right away.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah, it was
like, you just, I don't know. It made me mad because I'm like, maybe because Kurtwood Smith influenced it. And I tried, like I said, I tried to go in with a, you know, clean slate, but the fact that you just wasted a main character from the original, like nothing.
Yep. No, and then in the 87 version, they did not know what would kill RoboCop at all. They just got, you know, Dick Jones just gave him just this massive gun, and everybody got this massive gun.
Yeah.
And they were trying to shoot him with it, which is honestly more believable that it was harder for them to shoot him with that gun.
Yeah.
Because that's not an easy thing to handle. It was huge.
Also, the first one had him go into the nightclub with that horrible music and that guy dancing around.
Oh my God. When I saw that scene, I was like, I cannot believe Verhoeven didn't insert some sort of like stupid dance scene for RoboCop.
But,
you know what I mean?
The best part is, like you'll see it in the documentary, but when he used to walk, it used to be hard for him to walk with the legs.
Yeah.
So he only had the top on. So it was basically his top of RoboCop, and he was in his underwear walking around that club.
Oh, jeez.
So it's imagine him walking around in his underwear in that club with it.
That's funny. Yeah. Well, I mean, like you said, the original has a ton of great scenes.
Mm-hmm.
There are wonderful scenes throughout. The worst scene, I don't know that there was necessarily too many bad scenes. I mean, it's all sort of campy, but it's all supposed to be. It's all satire, and it's supposed to make you go, this is ridiculous, but make a point about why they're being ridiculous. I will say one thing that I noticed in this, and knowing that Paul Verhoeven did Starship Troopers, the co-ed locker room, they had absolutely gratuitous boob shot in the 1987 movie, and it was literally just a woman putting Kevlar on over her naked body, like her naked chest. Like it wasn't, nobody would do that.
It's a European thing, man. I don't know. He's Dutch.
Yeah. But that was something they did in Starship Troopers too, and I was like, oh, that's funny that he's still hanging on to that later.
For me, I would say the original, the worst scene is probably just the Dick Jones death. I don't like the way it looked when he died, when he fell out the window. Uh,
That's kind of with the technology.
yeah,
though,
that's the only
hurts it.
bad thing I say about it. And the worst scenes for the new one are all the fucking emotional bullshit scenes that we don't need.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say the worst scene for me in the new one is the final scene where he's fighting to be able to work against his directive to shoot the guy. And he ends up doing it. Like and I guess you're just supposed to figure like, oh, the human side of him won out, but he shoots him, right?
Yeah, even that part in the original when he's like, the only way he kills him was because the old man fires Dick.
Yeah, fires him, and then he could kill him, and that's what he's not above that, right? So there's this like whole human versus machine thing going on in 2014 one that apparently we're supposed to understand he's beaten it at that point, but that's what they used for beating it and not. I mean, they could have done that a million different ways, but he kills Michael Keaton's character. The security guard. Then they shoot. Then they flip to an overhead shot, like a crane shot, looking down. The security guard literally just walks away, just turns and walks away, and does not look twice at him. Just
Well,
like,
hey, I mean,
I guess
that
I'm
guy
done.
was an asshole. Yeah.
Well, and like, what was that? Like,
I don't know, man. The thing though about the human side, people talk shit about the sequels of RoboCop. 2 is not as good as 1, but I still like 2. I actually like 3. But the way they play his human side is he kind of gets like a little, he knows who he is because of Lewis in the first one. The second one, he is a little bit more becoming humanized because of Lewis and his relationship with her. That keeps him human, but even his wife comes to see him, and he says this is a memorial to him, trying to get her away. Even though he kind of goes and stays by her, he watches her house,
yeah,
But and then in the third one, the only way he goes against the directive is when Lewis dies. A spoiler, I'm sorry, but it's like 30 years old. When she dies, it kind of fucks him up in the head that he basically reboots himself and then deletes that directive due to that action because it was killed by an OCP officer. So they kind of at least had a better story arc than all the shit they did in this one.
yeah. They did all the work to get there so that it made sense that he would or could do it. Yeah, and they don't do that at all. So I'm sitting there talking with my wife about this movie, and I was joking that like the worst part of the 2014 is that they made him a family man. Right?
Yeah.
And when this movie ends, what are we supposed to believe happens? So at the end of 1987, he's a robot cop. He's a RoboCop. He and Lewis are going to go continue cleaning up the streets. That's what happens after that movie. At the end of this movie, they're making him illegal to exist, I guess, or like he can't be a cop anymore. They're not going to let this continue, the Congress or whatever. So he's going to go home to his wife and son. How does that work? How does this version of RoboCop live with his wife and son?
Not just that, but like he's still under Sellers' company. Like, you think the company's just gonna let you fucking take it away? I mean, yeah, what's his name is Gary Oldman's still a doctor, but Sellers' company funded all that. They're not gonna just let him walk away, whether he is illegal or not. To me, that made no sense. And then, like, yeah, what kind of relationship are you gonna have with a fucking robot?
Yeah.
Like, well, that's why I like the original ones better, because it showed that he's still a machine, but he has his memories. They've explained that in the third one. Like, she lets him, Jill Hennessy's character, who plays the doctor, lets him keep his memories, and they tell her to destroy him, and she's like, no, she feels bad, and that gives him a little bit more human side. Like, they couldn't do that. You couldn't take from that fucking movie and make your 2014 movie better.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and we were talking about that too. So, like, the CEO owner dies. You know that this company is going to go bankrupt, right? They're going to be in all this legal stuff. So they're going to be all bankrupt. They're going to seize everything that company owns. But since RoboCop is actually more human than he is robot, they can't do that to him, right? So now he can't be a cop. He's the company's gone, so he's free. But he's just back at his house, and we were laughing that it's the perfect setup for a bad sitcom.
Oh, yeah.
He no longer can have a job, but it's like, it's robot mom, which is great because like Michael Keaton played Mr. Mom, right? So it's that idea as a sitcom where this kid has this dad who's a robot and the mom, and hilarity ensues because it's ridiculous that they're doing it. And Emily was saying like maybe they save Michael Keaton, right, and make him a robot guy just so he can go to jail, right? But then he's like a Dr. Doofenshmirtz, and his whole goal is just to stop RoboCop. So that's like the setup for this comedy. This sitcom is RoboCop's a Mr. Mom type, and Michael Keaton's character is trying to get him. So it's like Phineas and Ferb, Dr. Doofenshmirtz, and Perry the Platypus every episode.
That sounds like something I would watch. Like, and the crazy thing is, it's funny you say that because I watched Robot Chicken a week or so ago, and they have, at the end of Terminator 2 when he tells him not to go, and the Terminator's like, they did like a scenario where he doesn't go and he just becomes like a worthless father, and the whole point is to make John stronger. Like, it's him drinking beer, getting drunk, and saying insults to John Connor because he's like, "Oh, this tells me that you'll be a stronger leader if I do this to you," which is hilarious. Like, there's a part where he's like, "You can't come to my room. My room is my domain." And he breaks down the wall of the fucking house and says, "Now you're in my room." Like, just stuff like that. It would just be funny. Like, that would be good. But I don't know what they were trying to give us. And then they have like him walking and his wife and kid are smiling. Like, get the hell out of here. Like, your kid's gonna go to school and say my dad's a robot, and like kids are gonna call that kid crazy. Yeah,
exactly. There's nowhere to go with the story after this. They painted themselves into a corner. But all right, let's hit Act 3 and get out of here.
Yeah.
Chow dear, chow dear, it's chowder. Say it right. Chowder.
All right, my friend.
All right. Judges score cards. We have Remake. That's a movie that they just remade the story. It's meh. It could be bad. It could be good, but it's literally just kind of doing the same thing. Reboot. Make that's actually good enough that they could do sequels off of. Rename. That's a movie that has the same name and it shouldn't have the same name because it's totally different. Or rethink the concept altogether and maybe your life.
I'll go first for this. I have a couple things to say. So in terms of legacy, this is going to come to my answer. The 1987 film is still quoted, studied, and referenced. Even to this day, it's 40, it's going to be 40 years old next year in 2027. 2014's films already forgotten.
Yeah.
Nobody really talks about it. The original RoboCop, hated corporations and laughed while saying it. The satire. And the remake feels like they asked corporations if it was okay first before they made it. So with that, I have to say it's a rethink for me.
Yeah. 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 Is it a rethink? Yeah, it kind of is a rethink. A little bit towards remake because they just remade it. It was worse, but it definitely wasn't a reboot. Like if you wanted a sequel to this, there's no possible way, just because of how they handled the story. But the movie itself. So here's what I was thinking: if the original didn't exist and the 2014 version came out, I think it would have been fine. I think people would have just been like, oh, that was an okay movie or whatever. It still would have gotten forgotten. like you said. It probably would not have made the money that it made because it didn't have the name recognition. So in that sense, yeah, but it was a fine movie. Like it was a 2014 generic action movie. So I totally get what you're saying with rethink, because
They should, if they wanted to, they should do something totally different in terms of name and characters, and it'd been okay.
yeah, with the 1987 movie out there and what they did, they really should rethink what they wanted to say with the new movie. They didn't. It's like they stripped the satire from the original. So yeah, I think I'm going to go with you. It's a rethink. They should have rethought this whole concept, because if they would have done this movie and just updated the satire to really skewer where society was in 2014 with social media, which was, I don't think, mentioned in any way, which at that point it was like 5, 6, 7 years into it. But social media, computers, iPhones, all that stuff. And it's supposed to be 2029, right? So they really should have leaned into that, and they could have done a lot to skewer and make satire from that. But like you said, it feels like they asked the billionaires, hey, is it okay if we make fun of you this way? And billionaires were like, nah, don't do it. You can't make fun of us. Just do the rest of it. So I agree. I think it's a rethink. I think that's our first complete rethink on the movie.
Yeah, and I got some information for you here. You know they're making a new RoboCop, right?
I did not know that, and that's terrible.
Okay, so there is in production a RoboCop Returns film, and they're going the route of Halloween films. They're ignoring the second, third, and remake. But there is a silver lining to this, because the film is based on a story outline that Edward Neumeier and Michael Miner wrote before as a sequel to RoboCop, the original writers. But it was rejected because the studio wanted RoboCop 2 to enter production as fast as possible and didn't want to wait for their script for them to write the full screenplay.
Okay.
So that is one good thing. The bad news is John Cena and Chris Evans have been rumored to be taking on the role of RoboCop.
What? What?
Yeah, they're rumored to have been taking on the role of RoboCop. Either or of them, one of them is going to take the role, is what they're rumored, that they're up for the role.
Okay, so here's something that is absolutely stupid. Both movies that we watched did get this right. The cop was just a cop, a regular human being, a guy. And both were thin sort of dudes being cops. And then they became RoboCops. You do not need John Cena or Chris Evans, these super muscly Arnold Schwarzenegger types, to be RoboCop. That's not the point. The point is the robot. the metal, the robot makes him strong and makes him impervious to things. You don't need a muscle guy. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't like that casting. I'm interested to see if it does come to fruition. Of course, this is on IMDb, so it's still in development. If you love the original RoboCop and you want to do something that's like more modern, and I suggest to you to play Rogue City, which is the video game that came out with Peter Weller as RoboCop.
Okay.
It has him, it has Lewis in there. It's actually a very fun game, first person shooter that RoboCop just goes and fucks people up. It has him use his I'm about to say karate, his cyber stuff. He uses all his stuff in there, and you fight Ed 209 and other stuff in there. It's a pretty fun game that kind of captures the essence of old RoboCop with a newer story.
Yeah.
So if you want to do that. But if you love the original and you want to see the remake, you're not going to be very disappointed in my mind.
Yeah. For the most part, I think I've been on the side of go ahead and watch the remake of all these movies that we've talked about, this is the first one I'm going to say don't. Just don't. There's no point to it. It's a waste of your time. It's 2 hours long. It's an extra like half hour for no reason whatsoever, and it's not a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just really not.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think you kind of get, if you listen to this episode where we were going while we were complaining the whole time earlier. But
Well, I think in the past, and if you liked or did not like how we were handling these points, we're still working on this concept here. But I wanted to build, instead of just having a conversation about it, like, and then having a scorecard, I wanted to sort of build out our arguments. Yes, it's going to be pretty obvious, I think, by the end of the show where we're going to go with these a lot of times. But now I'm hoping people kind of get, like, the characters are this and that. But I don't know. Let us know if you liked this format, like the old format, or or maybe we need to rethink it.
yeah, let us know. With that, Cotton, you got anything to plug, my man?
No, I don't. Not really. I'm trying to think if there was anything. I mean, of course, Sunranto show. We're always talking Cubs. Sadly, all the horrific things going on with the Cubs. And then, yeah, that's about it.
What about, you got Baseball Rabbit Hole coming out, right? A new one next year?
Yeah, I am working on Baseball Rabbit Hole. It's going to be a little bit. I try to do one of those a month during the baseball season. I'm hoping to have a pregame episode which sets up the Baseball Rabbit Hole out in February. That's a little bit of a tougher one, but this year I'm going with the theme War Games, right? And the idea is I'm going to talk about each position, all 9 positions, who has the most war career at that position, and whether I agree with it or not, and who are some of the other players to think about. And, so I'm going to go and then talking about current players that are doing the thing. So it's a little bit of a work in progress. I'm trying to figure it out, but yeah, I've got nine innings to make, and there are 9 positions on the field. Sorry, DH does not exist in my world, and so I will not talk about it in the Baseball Rabbit Hole. But yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah, check Cotton stuff out. If you guys, I know most of the guys that listen to at the show are mostly Sox fans and followers of the 108, but the Sun Rancho show is basically the 108 for Cubs fans, and they actually have been around longer.
I guess I should say this is all under Bleacher Bunch. Like, if you're searching for the podcast, search for Bleacher Bunch.
Bleacher Bunch, there you go.
And the Baseball Rabbit Hole is just one of the shows that goes out under it. So if you get the Bleacher Bunch and you don't want to listen to people talk about the Cubs, you can search by Rabbit Hole within that feed, and you will get the 27. I think I have 27, maybe there might be a couple extras, but I've got at least 27 episodes about baseball in general. And I get into a lot of Chicago Cubs and Sox just because those two teams have been around a lot, and I talk about the Negro Leagues in one season a lot, which Comiskey Park was the home of the Negro Leagues All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's like, there are definitely things for just baseball fans out there. It's Baseball Rabbit Hole, and it's just generically baseball and not Cubs centric.
Yeah, it's really, really good stuff. I enjoy it, not just because Cotton's my friend, but I actually enjoy listening to it. He gives really, really good information there. Also, it's also nice to check out the other side of town, what's going on, how their fans are taking it. I would say the Sun Rancho show is not, or the Beecher Bunch Sun Rancho show is not really a typical baseball podcast. There's a lot of tomfoolery with it to go along with, what you guys talk about Cubs, which is why I enjoy it so much.
Right. We're just talking about the Cubs, but we don't get real deep into like numbers and things like that. We're talking about decisions, and we're talking about players, and it's a very non-technical. Our hope is to be more funny than baseball. Like, we would rather have a joke and have some goofy thing than talk about somebody's, I don't know, spin rate or something. Like, you're not going to get that from our show. And as a Sox fan, you'll probably enjoy the fact that we talk shit about the Cubs constantly. Nobody knows how to talk shit about the Cubs like the people who actually love the Cubs.
I just thought of imagining Danny talk spin rate, and it just made me laugh.
I know, right?
But yeah, check out the Bleacher Bunch and the Baseball Rabbit Hole from there. On my end, the After Show podcast just came back this week. We just released a new episode deep diving into The Thing. We did about hour and 45-minute episode with a new format, trying to make things a little bit more smoother. Let us know what you think about that. That's also on the At the Show podcast feed. And if you are in a need for any custom stickers and stuff like that, check me out at Penguin Imprints. We just dropped also a Derrick Rose tribute shirt, non-copyright edition. So a lot of my stuff is non-copyright edition. So check that out if you like the Bulls.
Yeah, there's some good stuff on there. I dug the Mad Rose. I thought that was cool.
Thanks, my man. But with that, I guess we can get out of here and come back in a couple weeks.
That's it. Yeah, we'll see you in a few weeks to talk about some other bad remake.
Maybe it's a good one. You never know.
Yeah.